the fearsome Megalodon, a monster shark that made even T-Rex shiver, or the Liopleurodon, with teeth that could smash a vehicle in one snap. These represent only the tip of the iceberg. But it's not just the size of these monsters that sends chills down your spine. These aquatic terrors featured nightmare-like traits. So gather your courage and prepare to encounter the ancient sea monsters that once ruled the oceans in our list of the 20 most dangerous extinct sea monsters. Number 20, Megalodon. Megalodon, a terrible predator known among sharks, formerly roamed the depths of Earth's ancient oceans. These abominations were the stuff of nightmares, far more terrifying than any Hollywood fabrication. Megalodon sharks ruled the seas for more than 20 million years, making them the ultimate predators. Their name, Megalodon, means big tooth in Greek, and their triangular teeth were gigantic, with some reaching a stunning 16.6 centimeters in length, dwarfing those of modern great white sharks. While we can't be confident of their exact size due to their cartilaginous bones, researchers believe they may grow to be up to 20 meters long, which would make them 3 to 4 times the size of today's largest great white sharks. These oceanic titans were transoceanic super predators, traveling great distances and preying on the ocean's greatest species, including whales. Their biting force was unrivaled, roughly ranging between 100,000 to 200,000 newtons, greatly beyond that of any known mammal. The food of Megalodon has been studied, with some claiming it sought whales like current orcas, while others say it ate more like great white sharks. Their diet most likely altered as they developed, with juveniles seeking smaller animals. But what caused these apex predators' demise? The Megalodon's warm-blooded existence appears to have become unsustainable as sea levels dropped and prey grew scarcer. Despite the extravagant claims made in films, there is no evidence that they have survived to the present day. Number 19, Anomalocaris. Let's travel back over 500 million years to a nightmare world ruled by Anomalocaris. This aquatic horror dominated the oceans during the Cambrian era, making it possibly the world's first top predator. It was a 1-meter-tall prehistoric monster, hunting prey with undulating side flaps and a fan-shaped tail. It had a frightening armory, with giant spiked arms to ensnare, a square-toothed mouth to bite, and massive stalking eyes to track its victims. These now rare fossilized eyes included tens of thousands of separate lenses, providing Anomalocaris with unrivaled vision. It had superb vision in well-lit waters, almost 360 degrees around, making it a terrible nightmare for its prey. It was a relentless predator because the stalked eyes of Anomalocaris aided it in spotting prey from a distance. It closed in on its unsuspecting prey with a burst of speed. But its terrible appearance wasn't just for show. It hunted with purpose. Recent discoveries indicate that its powerful claws, which were once assumed to be used for attacking hard-shelled organisms like trilobites, were really too frail for such prey. Anomalocaris most likely preyed on softer, squishier prey, torpedoing through the ancient oceans in search of its next meal. Anomalocaris was a Cambrian horror, an apex predator with unrivaled vision and a violent hunting style. Number 18, Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus, the ancient sea monster, controlled the late Devonian waters. It is also known as the Dunkle's bone. During this time, up to 10 different species of Dunkleosteus flourished. These enormous monsters were a sight to behold in North America, Europe, and Morocco. While their exact dimensions are unknown, they were estimated to be 11 to 26 feet long. They were fearsome predators, with their tank-like armor made of bone plates. Dunkleosteus was a voracious giant who could devour practically anything in its path, even resorting to cannibalism. Their jaw plates were shaped into terrifying blades capable of slashing through bone with a bite force similar to gigantic crocodiles, an incredible 21,000 pounds per square inch. But it is Dunkleosteus's status as an apex predator throughout the late Devonian that is truly remarkable. With jaw-dropping adaptations, it dominated the oceans, and although being toothless, its jaws created self-sharpening, cutting swords that could cut through anything in its path. Dunkleosteus perished during the Devonian mass extinction, leaving behind a record of amazing fossils. Number 17, Dinosuchus. Dinosuchus, the terrible crocodile, was a reptile that lurked in the dark rivers of North America during the late Cretaceous period. Their massive body, measuring up to 33 feet long and weighing up to 10 tons, made them one of the largest prehistoric crocodiles ever known. Imagine these huge reptile animals stalking the primordial waters, each with a 6-foot-long skull. These huge crocs possessed a bone-crushing bite force of 10,000 to 15,000 per square inch, rivaling the deadly Tyrannosaurus rex. Their voracious appetite did not stop with fish and shellfish. They terrorized terrestrial species, including dinosaurs, leaving a spine-tingling trail of bite marks on North American tyrannosaurs' remains. For many years, Dinosuchus was thought to be the largest crocodile ever discovered until the enormous Sarcosuchus was discovered and claimed the terrifying distinction. These ancient terrors grew at a rate of around 1 foot each year, leaving a terrifying trail wherever they went. Their fossil history is as tangled as a horror movie storyline. Despite their terrifying look, Dinosuchus maintained spooky parallels with modern crocodiles, demonstrating the crocodilian line's consistent malevolence over millions of years. This malicious lineage raises the disturbing question of why crocodiles, who are descended from the same reptilian family tree as dinosaurs, survived the devastating extinction event while their cousins perished. Number 16. Elasmosaurus. Elasmosaurus, a colossal marine reptile, once haunted the oceans of North America during the late Cretaceous period. This creature was almost 50 feet in length, swimming beneath the waves, but its sheer size was just the beginning of its terrifying features. The first fossil of Elasmosaurus was discovered in an unexpected place, landlocked Kansas, revealing its creepy presence even in areas far from the sea. Elasmosaurus boasted an astonishingly long neck, supported by an extraordinary 71 vertebrae. This monstrous appendage, half the length of its body, must have looked like a nightmare come to life. However, despite its enormous length, Elasmosaurus couldn't raise its neck above the water's surface, but it had to rise to the surface for air, just like modern marine mammals. It couldn't live underwater all the time. Imagine this monstrous creature emerging from the depths, its lungs allowing it to remain submerged for up to 20 minutes only. Some speculate that the Loch Ness Monster is an Elasmosaurus, a claim supported by photographs and fueled by the idea that prehistoric terrors might still creep in the dark waters of Scotland. Number 15. Kronosaurus. In the early Cretaceous seas, Kronosaurus ruled supreme as one of the largest and deadliest marine reptiles to ever traverse the Earth. This fearsome beast, named after the mythological figure Kronos, a titan who devoured his own children, controlled the oceans around 120 million years ago. Kronosaurus, a plesiosaur, was a near relative of Liopleurodon, another terrible sea reptile, and weighed up to 10 tons. Despite its enormous size, Kronosaurus possessed broad teeth with no sharp cutting edges like other predators. It compensated, however, with a devastating bite and the capacity to follow prey at great speeds. This apex predator may have hunted plesiosaurs, leaving bite scars on their skulls. Kronosaurus fossils have been discovered in Colombia and Australia, indicating a possible global distribution, while further examples on other continents have yet to be discovered. Surprisingly, Kronosaurus thrived during a period when it was threatened by better adapted sharks and the advent of mosasaurs, which finally contributed to the extinction of plesiosaurs and pliosaurs. Number 14. Thalattoarchon. Thalattoarchon, the lizard-eating ruler of the seas, existed somewhat 245 million years ago. Beneath the surface of Middle Triassic waters oceans, where darkness reigned and dread lurked, these huge creatures prowled. This 28-foot-long creature resembled the dreadful orca, but had a thirst for everything greater than itself. Unlike most ichthyosaurs, which have simple teeth adapted for slippery prey like fish and squid, Thalattoarchon has ferocious teeth. These 4-inch-tall teeth with 2-inch crowns were blade-like, compressed from side to side, and had 2 cutting surfaces. They resembled the terrifying fangs of mosasaurs and huge pliosaurs, which were meant to catch and kill other large marine reptiles. Thalattoarchon's partial remnants tell a terrifying story. They had huge eyes, each approximately a foot across, and a head nearly twice the size of modern ichthyosaurs. Thalattoarchon's appearance in the Triassic oceans indicates that oceanic habitats recovered in a matter of million years, giving rise to terrifying apex predators like itself. It is also suggested suggested that Thalattoarchon was the ultimate predator, specializing in hunting other ichthyosaurs. Gut contents, coprolites, and tooth-marked bones could all support this gruesome theory. These macro-predators only appear when ecosystems have enough life to maintain them, and Thalattoarchon's reign of terror demonstrates how rapidly the oceans recovered from mass extinction, setting the groundwork for the evolution of terrifying sea monsters over the next 250 million years. Number 13. Basilosaurus. Consider a time when the seas were governed by a terrible creature that was mistaken for a prehistoric reptile. Basilosaurus, the king lizard of the ancient oceans, had a deadly secret. Unlike the majestic whales we know today, its long, eel-like form stretched up to 65 feet, a silent, lethal predator lurking beneath the waves, undulating its muscular physique near the water's surface. But here's the scary part. Basilosaurus wasn't a genius. Its brain was astonishingly small for its vast size, rendering it incapable of modern whales' complex social behaviors. It couldn't even make the mournful whale songs that we associate with these ocean titans. This beast lived during the late Eocene epoch, when huge creatures with small minds dominated the Earth. In an odd twist, this creature was originally known as Zeuglodon, a name that seems more like something out of a nightmare. The heritage of Basilosaurus lingers on in its front flippers, which have elbow hinges, a characteristic long gone in modern whales. Its hollow, fluid-filled vertebrae indicate a propensity for hunting near the water's surface, a strategy meant for the unwary prey above. Basilosaurus reigned as a horrific predator in prehistory, a frightening echo from the past that still haunts our imagination with its terrifying characteristics and chilling history. Number 12. Helicoprion. Around 270 million years ago, the waters were ruled by Helicoprion, a deadly marine monster. This prehistoric creature had a buzzsaw-like jaw with teeth placed in a circular whorl. But scientists couldn't agree on where this strange spiral of teeth on the animal was positioned for nearly a century. Some said it was too obvious, like a party favor with a sharp twist. Others said it dangled from the tail or protruded from the throat. Until recently, the enigma persisted. Fresh studies revealed light on the jaw structure of Helicoprion. The toothy spiral filled the entire lower jaw, with the jaw joint directly behind it. Surprisingly, Helicoprion lacked any upper teeth. This prehistoric predator, not a shark, but a cousin, known as a ratfish, used its distinctive dental armament in a circular saw action to capture soft-bodied prey like squid. Helicoprion could grow to be 20 to 25 feet long and roamed the oceans from the Permian to the early Triassic periods. Its fossils have been discovered all over the planet, from the Americas to Europe, implying that it lived on the supercontinent Pangaea. But how could such a fascinating species go from the planet? The answer is still unknown. Due to its size and fangs, Helicoprion had no natural predators, yet it encountered obstacles during the Permian-Triassic mass extinction. But one thing is certain, this buzzsaw-jawed monster was a top predator of its time. Number 11. Leedsichthys. The waters of more than 160 million years ago were ruled by gigantic sea monsters. Among these, Leedsichthys stands out as the world's largest fish, reaching 50 feet in length, more than doubling earlier estimates. This ancient giant was a filter feeder, sucking plankton from the water with its massive, mesh-covered gills. Leedsichthys was a real marine monster, living at a time when terrestrial dinosaurs were also growing to tremendous proportions. This phenomenon, known as gigantism, was observed both on land and in the oceans. However, the causes remain unknown. Leedsichthys's finding was difficult due to its largely cartilaginous skeleton, which does not fossilize easily. Fossils were discovered in a variety of areas, including northern Germany, Normandy, Mexico, and Chile's Atacama Desert. But the low quality of these specimens left scientists with a hazy picture of the fish. An almost complete Leedsichthys skeleton was discovered in a quarry at Whittlesea near Peterborough. This research revealed that the fish might grow to be around 50 feet long, defying previous projections. Leedsichthys had a tiny mesh across its gills that functioned like a trawler's net, catching plankton as it passed through its mouth. But what caused such massive sea animals to develop, both on land and in the water, remains a mystery. Leedsichthys sheds light not just on its enormous size, but also on the ecological changes that permitted such gigantic aquatic organisms to flourish, implying shifts in plankton concentrations. Despite considerable shrinking in its estimated size, Leedsichthys remains the largest bony fish ever identified. Number 10. Plesiosaurs. In the strange depths of ancient waters 210 million years ago, darkness reigned, and frightening marine monsters, the plesiosaurs, waited in the shadows. These creatures from your wildest nightmares have a terrifying secret. Their front and back legs have evolved into 4 uniform, wing-like flippers, each with a terrible purpose. For more than a century, experts have been perplexed as to how plesiosaurs swam with these 4 wings. Were they lumbering through the water like undead freshwater turtles, or did they silently soar beneath the waves like specters, similar to sea turtles and penguins? Dr. Kroll uncovered a scary truth by using the remains of these ancient monsters. Bone reproductions, muscle models, and disturbing reconstructions. Plesiosaurs did not row. Instead, they twisted their terrifying flippers in an up and down motion. This strange maneuver efficiently generated momentum, reminiscent of the frightening flights of underworld spirits. Dr. Kroll revealed this secret by analyzing the bones that formerly supported these huge flippers and the strange forces that clutched them. Plesiosaurs swam with freaky accuracy, capable of haunting their victims without the need for ghostly contortions of their shoulders and wrists. Plesiosaurs thrived during the late Triassic Age, interacting with dinosaurs before disappearing into the abyss at the end of the Cretaceous era. Number 9. Livyatan. Livyatan, the 12-million-year-old sea monster, ruled the ancient waters. Livyatan Melville, named after the biblical sea monster and Moby Dick's author, was a fearsome predator. Unlike today's sperm whales, Livyatan had gigantic teeth, some up to a foot long and 4 inches wide. Its deadly bite, 3 times larger than that of modern sperm whales, allowed it to seize prey with great force, tearing flesh off in the same way that modern killer whales do. Livyatan was the top predator of its period, and it most likely hunted huge baleen whales. It evolved to take advantage of this bountiful supply of energy as baleen whales became larger in prehistory. During this time period, the giant Megalodon may have competed for prey with Lavatai order to discover Livyatan's secrets. Belgian scientist Olivier Lambert embarked on treks into Peru's desert. They struck gold in 2008 when they discovered a gigantic cetacean skull, exposing the fearsome Livyatan. Its short, broad snout and massive temporal fossa contained powerful jaw-closing muscles, allowing it to have the largest bite of any tetrapod. Livyatan was a real marine monster, an unrivaled predator who once commanded the waters of our world. Number 8. Ichthyosaur. In the ancient seas of South America 130 million years ago, a frightening marine reptile known as the Ichthyosaur, or fish lizard, lurked during the early Cretaceous period. This prehistoric predator, recently revealed in remains recovered nearly 50 years ago, was anything but average. It was a swordfish-like creature with a meter-long skull filled with razor-sharp teeth. This marine monster has a distinctive tooth arrangement, possessing small, uniform teeth for eating small prey. This species changed its teeth to produce a powerful arsenal for battling giant marine predators. It was an epic predator, feeding on gigantic fish and other marine reptiles and threatening the ocean's hierarchy. These creatures, like modern-day dolphins and bluefin tuna, are examples of convergent evolution, demonstrating nature's proclivity to create identical forms for animals living in comparable settings. Following the Great Dying Catastrophe 200 million years ago, ichthyosaurs ruled the oceans during the Triassic period. These 66-foot-long reptile giants were among the first to retake the oceans following the Earth's catastrophic upheaval, traveling into previously barren waters. Throughout the Triassic Age, they prospered, demonstrating their dominion in the waters. Despite their enormous size, their fossils are scarce, presenting us with tantalizing but fragmentary evidence of their existence. Scientists previously thought that enormous ichthyosaurs were suction feeders, similar to underwater Hoover cleaners. This 4-inch-long tooth, on the other hand, implies a different story. It seems that these massive reptiles hunted smaller ichthyosaurs and even enormous squid, creating a picture of brave predators the size of a blue whale with a terrible bite. They were not peaceful giants. Rather, they were kings of the deep, daring all who ventured to cross their path. Number 7. Stethacanthus. The Stethacanthus shark ruled as a strange and fairly unimpressive marine predator in the late Devonian and early Carboniferous periods. These sharks, which might reach 3 feet in length and weighed 10 to 20 pounds, were not the largest of their day, but they were effective and dangerous hunters. What actually distinguished Stethacanthus was a peculiar characteristic found only in males, a protrusion resembling an ironing board projecting from their backs. This perplexing structure, known as the spine brush complex, perplexed scientists for years. It was initially thought to be a novel sort of fin, but its true role was revealed when it was discovered to function as a docking mechanism during mating, guaranteeing a secure connection between males and females during reproduction. Despite these remarkable adaptations, Stethacanthus was a slow swimmer, most likely due to the weight of the ironing board on their backs. Instead, they were bottom feeders, scouring the ocean floor for meals. They typically hunted smaller fish and cephalopods, but they weren't afraid to pursue slower-moving marine species when the opportunity offered. However, underestimating the Stethacanthus definitely wouldn't be wise. Number 6. Sea scorpion. The Eurypterida, or sea scorpions, were horrific arthropods that prowled the oceans between 541 million and 252 million years ago, their spiny limbs and crushing claws striking terror into the hearts of all living beneath the waves. In a world devoid of vertebrate animals, the Eurypterida reigned supreme as the ultimate predators and herbivores, exhibiting a wide range of odd forms and sizes. Their dominion lasted a whopping 219 million years, from the Ordovician to the Permian. While the majority lived in the sea, some traveled into fresh water, leaving their imprints in riverine deposits. The earliest fossils were discovered in 1818 and were initially misidentified as tiny crustaceans. They were later recognized as a distinct order, similar to modern arachnids, such as spiders and scorpions. Eurypterus remipes, one of the most famous sea scorpions, thrived throughout the Silurian era. It was a strong hunter, capable of capturing and tearing apart its prey with its enormous compound eyes and chelicerae resembling crab claws. Eurypterids had specialized limbs for a variety of activities, legs that are paddle-shaped for swimming and others for scavenging on the sea floor. They came in a variety of sizes, with some reaching over 2.5 meters in length, making them the largest arthropods in Earth's history. Pentacopterus, discovered in the Ordovician period, reached roughly 1.83 meters and marked a watershed moment in Earth's evolutionary history as one of the world's first notable predators. Because of diversification events and temperature shifts, these ancient giants coexisted with other large invertebrates such as trilobites and ammonites. The Permian extinction, which wiped off over 96% of marine life, including the Eurypterida, ended their domination. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Time for our subscribers pick. This image depicts a situation that one could land in if the monsters mentioned above still existed in this age. Imagine being on vacation, relaxing on a cruise ship over deep dark waters, unsuspecting of the horror beneath. All of a sudden emerges a titan from the deep, such as the Megalodon, capable of devouring a whole cruise ship due to its magnanimous size. What would you do in such a situation? Do you believe such creatures could still be lurking in the massively undiscovered parts of the oceans? Let us know in the comments. Number 5. Nothosaurus. Nothosaurus, a terrifying beast, swam in the gloomy depths of the old Triassic oceans. It was a nightmare from the past, with its long, tapering body, webbed feet, and rows of razor-sharp teeth. This marine reptile reigned for about 50 million years, and while it resembled current seals, it was a considerably more dangerous predator. Nothosaurus moved gracefully, undulating its body and swimming with its limbs. Although it was not as devoted to the water as its successors, the Plesiosaurs and Plesiosaurs, it inhaled air through nostrils on the top of its nose and may have traveled onto land. During the Triassic era, Nothosaurus, a member of the Nothosaur family, was a sea master. It ruled over the entire world, from Western Europe to Northern Africa and Eastern Asia. Over a dozen Nothosaurus species have been unearthed, each more terrible than the last. One has to wonder if this sea monster gave rise to even larger and deadlier predators like the huge Plesiosaurs Liopleurodon and Cryptocleidos. In the time of Nothosaurus, the world beneath the waves was a perilous place where danger stood at every turn, making it one of the most dangerous beasts to ever walk the ancient oceans. Number 4. Tylosaurus. Tylosaurus was a huge mosasaur that used to swim in the murky waters of the late Cretaceous. Mosasaurus and Hanosaurus were among its contenders for the title of apex predator, but Tylosaurus triumphed. Unlike its forefathers, this marine monster propelled itself using its tail rather than its flippers. It built a formidable weapon with almost 80 vertebrae in its tail. Each vertebra featured towering neural spines and deep 5-shaped chevrons beneath, making Tylosaurus's tail ideal for slicing through the water and propelling it forward with incredible power. Tylosaurus mastered hydrodynamics, From the side, its huge body appeared streamlined, minimizing water resistance, while its long, sloping cranium lowered drag even further. Although it had flippers, these were used for steering rather than swimming, which added to its lethal efficiency. Tylosaurus's snout was a weapon, specialized and occasionally broken, implying territorial conflict among these marine giants. Tylosaurus may have struggled for dominance in food-rich places due to a scarcity of large prey in the same area. This colossal predator wasn't choosy about what it ate. It ate fish, sharks, flightless birds like Hesperornis, and even enormous marine reptiles like Plesiosaurs and other mosasaurs, according to fossil evidence. It wasn't beyond scavenging either, as evidenced by the discovery of a hadrosaur with tooth marks similar to Tylosaurus. This scavenging could have occurred when a Tylosaurus came across a drowned dinosaur body floating on the sea's surface. Tylosaurus, however, did not rely exclusively on its teeth and jaws to strike. Its nose had compression damage, indicating a brute force technique. It would ram its prey at great speeds, stunning them and turning them into easy prey. When other marine reptiles surfaced to breathe, this strategy was especially effective. To avoid getting discovered, the attack needed patience and exact timing, typically approaching from below. This predatory approach was shared by other sea giants, such as the Megalodon and predatory whales, implying a timeless way of survival. Tylosaurus took advantage of any opportunity to feed, including flightless birds and marine turtles. It wasn't only about survival in the harsh world of top predators, it was also about eliminating rivals and securing control in the ancient oceans. The apex predator of the late Cretaceous was Tylosaurus, a genuine nightmare of the deep. Number 3. Xiphactinus. Xiphactinus reigned supreme in the prehistoric depths of the Cretaceous oceans. This massive bony fish, which measured 15 to 20 feet in length, was truly an aquatic monster. Xiphactinus, a horror of the deep with a toothy grin like an enormous tarpon, patrolled the waters from 112 to 65 million years ago. Xiphactinus was the epitome of a gluttonous predator. It ate everything in its path, from small fish and turtles to unsuspecting pterosaurs and even young mosasaurs. When the opportunity arrived, it did not hesitate to scavenge. Xiphactinus fossils have been discovered, with undigested prey lingering in their stomachs. One famed specimen in Kansas's Sternberg Museum of Natural History carried a 6-foot-long Gylicus arctuatus within its stomach, a meal so large that it most certainly caused Xiphactinus's demise. Xiphactinus was designed for speed, with a torpedo-like body capable of reaching speeds of up to 60 kilometers per hour. Its streamlined appearance suggested that it might leap out of the water like current dolphins, catching pterosaurs at the surface. Xiphactinus governed the shallow waters, such as North America's western interior seaway, a body of water that separated the continent. While Xiphactinus fossils have been discovered all over the world, the Niobrara chalk layers of Kansas stand out as the most famous and prolific locality. Dozens of complete Xiphactinus specimens, some over 20 feet long, have been discovered, as well as countless incomplete skeletons and thousands of fossil vertebrae. Many Xiphactinus fossils contain partially devoured smaller fish, demonstrating the aquatic terror's ferocious hunger. Number 2. Hallucigenia. 500 million years ago, during the Cambrian era, the oceans were teeming with terrible creatures, none more terrifying than Hallucigenia. During this period, life underwent a major transition known as the Cambrian explosion, which resulted in the emergence of complex species from simple ones. Massive mountains arose, funneling nutrients into the waters and sparking this tremendous diversity. Paleontologist Charles Doolittle Walcott discovered Canadian fossils in 1911, mistaking them for a worm. Fast forward to 1977, when Simon Conway Morris dubbed it Hallucigenia, a term that describes these extraterrestrial creatures. Hallucigenia was a caterpillar from your worst dreams, not a worm. It walked on spindly legs and had spine-covered appendages on its back, which were most likely employed to catch prey. The ultimate dread, though, was in its change. Hallucigenia was re-evaluated, which turned the story on its head. What about those spines? Not legs, but defensive armaments and claw-like features on the legs. Hallucigenia was something considerably more complex than a caterpillar. Ramscold had a feeling it was the tail, not the head. Martin R. Smith and Jean-Bernard Caron confirmed it decades later. They discovered eyes, a mouth, and teeth at the creature's other end, redefining its terrifying image. Hallucigenia, with its spines, legs, and perplexing body, was an evolutionary nightmare. It was connected to velvet worms and even the tough water bears known as tardigrades. Hallucigenia was a creepy monster in the Cambrian seas. Its spiky appendages were not for defense, but for seizing and entangling victims, transforming it into a genuine sea monster. Number 1. Liopleurodon. Liopleurodon was a massive sea lizard of the ancient seas. It was termed as the smooth-sided teeth, after its 3 teeth, each about 3 inches long, discovered in France in 1873. Walking with Dinosaurs depicted it as an 80-foot monster, while it was most likely approximately 30 feet in fact. The creators inflated its size because of its huge skull, which was a Plesiosaur feature. These were Plesiosaur cousins notable for their elongated heads, short necks, and powerful flippers. They inhabited the Jurassic seas in the same way as modern sharks do today. Liopleurodon commanded Europe's oceans during the late Jurassic period, weighing up to 10 tons. It was the top predator, consuming fish, squids, and even tiny sea reptiles. Liopleurodon was a rapid swimmer with 4 broad flippers that helped it catch prey while not being as fast as great white sharks. It also had a good sense of smell, which helped it hunt from a distance. Like whales, Liopleurodon had lungs and had to surface for air. Imagine seeing a swarm of them burst the surface. An incredible sight if you survive. Liopleurodon's reign ended roughly 150 million years ago, at the onset of the Cretaceous period. It was unable to endure the emergence of new predators, signaling the end of an age in the ancient oceans. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in our next video.